the ancestral homeland of the Nipmuc and Pecumtuck people, the trees that are around us, all above us, and holding us here today. And thinking about what we're doing here today, I think we need to look a little bit farther back into the history of this place and the history of the land in this place. So looking at the history of dispossession, of colonialism, and of capitalism as we understand what processes we're experimenting with today. And looking into our future, the climate change, refugees, disruption. As we look to these challenges, how do we sit ourselves? What are our responsibilities to our children and to our ancestors and the people who came before us here on this land? So I'm really humbled to see such support here today, and with recognition that we can find safety in these times through our interconnection and interdependence with one another, and that moving alone is not the way to move forward, but that we need to figure out how do we move together to keep ourselves safe and for our responsibility of our children and our grandchildren. So thank you today for our caterers who made us this wonderful food. They're a cooperative in just south of us in Connecticut. And also I want to thank Four Phantoms Brewery here in Greenfield who donated all the beer tonight. So thank you so much to them. Go check them out. So we want to start with just a little bit more background from the catering and hear a bit about how their cooperative is doing and what they're bringing to us today. So I'm going to pass it off to them, and then we'll hear more from some of our other partners today. And there's some chairs, more chairs on the left over here if people are in the rain and don't want to be in the rain.
Hola, buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es Anabel Hernández. Soy mexicana, indocumentada, madre soltera de 4 hijos.
Hello everyone, my name is Ana Hernandez. I'm Mexican. I'm a single mother of 4 children and I'm undocumented.
Elizabeth, ven. Ok, gracias a todos por estar aquí acompañándonos. Gracias a quienes nos invitaron. Bueno, Gaby, y me siento muy contenta de ver caras conocidas, no muchos, pero pues Rebeca, Gaby, el esposo, su niño.
Thank you so much for everyone for being here with us today. Thank you for those of you that invited us. It's wonderful to see so many, well, some faces that I know and lots of other new faces as well.
Y pues, hablando de nuestra cooperativa Tortillería Semilla, voy a hablar como de mi experiencia personal en este proyecto cooperativo.
Talking about our co-op Tortillería La Semilla, I'm going to speak about my personal experience.
Bueno, yo soy como que siento que quiero que avance todo rápido y a veces no me doy cuenta que ya hemos avanzado demasiado. Entonces, cuando tenemos reuniones, por ejemplo, con Gaby, con Carlita de CFN, nos felicitan porque dicen, han logrado demasiado. Y yo digo, oh, creo que ya me di cuenta que sí.
I'm one of the kinds of people who sometimes I just really want to see things move forward already, and it's frustrating. And then I realize often when I meet with people who are supporting us and collaborating with us, they say, "Wow, you've done a lot. You guys are really, gathered some great momentum." I say, "Oh, okay, I guess we have."
Ha sido difícil hasta este momento porque, pues, los 3 somos indocumentados. Mi compañera y yo, pues, madres de familia, y hay que darnos tiempo para muchas cosas. Entonces, también no es fácil, proyecto cooperativo. porque somos de México, pero somos de diferentes estados, diferente carácter, diferente cultura, cocinamos diferente, entonces hay que adaptarnos.
So, I'm going to try to get, it's okay. I'm trying to get all that. I'm better at simultaneous interpretation. It's been really hard going so far, honestly. All of us are immigrants, undocumented immigrants. Two of us, of our compas here, are mothers as well, and it's hard to make time for all the things we need to do to get this cooperative vision or dream up and running. And sometimes it's really hard going, but here we are.
Thank you. Entonces, pues, una cooperativa es una alternativa económica para, en este caso para mí, porque yo no podría hacer un negocio sola, por la economía, por los problemas, el inglés, todas esas cosas. Entonces ya los tres, éramos 5 al principio, somos 3 ahora, y pues nos complementamos, ¿no? Cada quien hace diferentes cosas en la cooperativa.
So we're a cooperative. We believe a cooperative is a really important alternative way of organizing ourselves economically. And we, honestly, I would never want to have done what we're doing alone. It's really important for us to join our efforts and work together. For one thing, we each have our own weaknesses. We each have our own strengths. English is a challenge for most of us, and we really complement one another in our different strengths and weaknesses. Then we started out with 5 of us. Now there's 3 of us. And yeah.
Y me siento muy orgullosa de ofrecer nuestro producto, tortillas nixtamalizadas. Ahorita un compañero va a explicar qué es nixtamalización, pero me siento muy contenta de que prueben nuestra comida y digan, está muy rico. Todo, entonces me siento muy bien. Aparte es la receta de la tortillería semilla, pero en este caso es como la receta de mi mamá, de mi abuela.
So we offer tortillas that are nixtamalizadas, and I'm going to pass the mic to my compa so she can explain exactly what that is and why it's so important, why it's so meaningful to us. It's the recipe that we use is our own recipe. Well, it's an ancestral recipe. It comes actually from some of them from my grandmother, and I'm going to pass the mic to Eli.
Hola. Muchas gracias a todos por invitarnos. Estamos muy emocionados de poder trabajar para ustedes. Para mí es un gran honor el poder estar aquí con nuestro producto para podernos orgullosamente de él. Estamos pues aquí promocionándonos.
So thank you again so much to everyone. Yes, sorry. Thank you again so much to everyone for having us. We're really, truly happy to be here. I'm honored to be able to share our cooking with you all and proud of what it is that we do.
Gracias, Eli. Hola a todos. My name is Javier Villatoro. I am a two-spirited Zapotec person from the Oaxacan Valley in southern Sokol, Mexico. And I'm one of the 3 worker owners of Tortillería Semilla Cooperativa. Gracias. Like Ana was mentioning, this food is made with ancestral recipes and with love. And we had an interview just the other day, and the interviewer was talking to us precisely about the recipes that we used, and we were talking about nixtamalización, which is, by the way, cooking the corn. It's actual corn, not the powder of those deadly companies, but the actual seed. Cooking it with cal, that's limestone. Yeah, it's a mineral, and you boil it, and then the next day you grind it, and that gives you fresh masa. And with that, we made everything that we serve for you today. We make that with that ancestral recipe. And so I was talking to the interviewer about the nixtamalización, and he says, "Oh, this is an ancestral technique that you are trying to replicate, right?" And I said, "No, we are not replicating anything, because we do not see ourselves separate from our ancestors. We are not a different people. We are doing what our people has been doing for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and that's what we are bringing to your table today. And by cooking this food with this method, and by getting our seeds from farmers that we trust, not only we are taking care of our bodies, we are also taking care of the land." because we understand that these poisonous companies that I will not name are not only killing our bodies, they are literally killing farmers. In Colombia, they made it illegal so that people cannot use their own seeds, and their crops have been burnt down so that they use the genetically modified seeds. So when we choose to make our food with the non-genetically modified seeds, with the heirloom seeds, we are fighting against that. This is a resistance project. This is a way for us to be resilient here in the United States, in the belly of the beast, where it's expected that we do not succeed, where it's expected that undocumented people are kept in menial jobs that exploit us. We all, the three of us, have experienced exploitations. We all have experienced what it is to be robbed of the value of our labor. And we understand that it is our labor that keeps this country running. And for that reason is that we are doing this cooperative project to keep our roots very alive, to revitalize the culture, to protect the seeds, and to get dignified jobs for the people. Thank you. And we are very dear friends of Gabriela here. We visit often. We try to visit often. So if you would like to get the masa, the tortillas, or even the tamales, I'm hoping that we can set up some dates so that we can visit here in Massachusetts, so that we can bring the tortillas for you all. We are actually working with a beautiful cooperative called Riquezas del Campo here in Massachusetts. To get, they're working to grow corn so that we can make our tortillas with native corn grown here. And we're also working so that we can set up this network of a coalition of immigrants cooperatives in the Northeast region so that we can move our tortillas around the Northeast region. So please stay connected. Follow us on Instagram, Tortilleria Semilla Co-op, and Facebook, same. Our website is tortilleriasemilla.coop. Please stay up to date with the project, and thank you so much.
O se pueden poner en contacto con Gaby y nosotros podemos traerle la masa, la tortilla, lo que gusten también. También con...
Or you can stay in touch with Gabriela, she says, and she can connect you to us. When she visits, I do sometimes bring back large bags of dough and tortillas on the train. So, all right. Thank you, compas. Muchas gracias, compañeros.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for coming here and feeding us and also sharing with us your journey. Next, we'll have some folks from the Valley Alliance for Land Equity come and talk to us about their mission and how we're all collaborating in this region. So, Trenda, I guess, and Rebecca, if you guys want to come.
There are 4 seats here.
You can also hide in here if you want. Yeah.
Because I'm going to be dramatic. We envision a world with a thriving commons where the resources we all depend on to live have been decommodified and are universally accessible and affordable. Oh, yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Trenda Lofton. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And I am one of the founders and ED of Willow Permanent Real Estate Cooperative, which is a Black, queer, and trans-led permanent real estate co-op, mobilizing resources and community to purchase collective assets here in Massachusetts.
And I'm Rebecca Fletcher, and have been serving with Trenda for about 2 years now on the steering committee for a group that many of you here are involved with called Valley Alliance for Land Equity. We recently got ourselves a name. We were the Housing and Land Justice Collaborative for quite some time. Do you want to keep? And I also work with Cooperative Fund of the Northeast, and was fortunate enough to be able to participate in making some financing available to get these houses purchased.
So Valley Alliance for Land Equity, which you'll hear more about.
And which that was the vision for that Trenda read just a minute ago.
Yes, it's true. It's true. Is a collective of CLTs, co-ops, and organizations here in Hampshire, Hampden, and Franklin counties that are committed to building access to homes and land throughout the valley.
And I'm going to read you our mission, which is to scale up the availability of permanently affordable, democratically governed, shared equity opportunities for lands and housing in Franklin, Hampshire, and Hampden counties. We seek to meaningfully reduce the racialized wealth divide in Western Mass and better meet individual and community needs.
It's a really important process. We recognize the beauty of being able to come together. Folks working in different sectors, folks working on similar projects. It's just going to take a whole lot of us.
So here in Western Mass, in these three counties, there is a long history of folks trying alternative ownership structures for land and housing. And in each of the three counties has had a community land trust that was incorporated and got homes and got a whole membership, and then eventually failed and went under. And so one of the reasons that we are coming together is to try to figure out how we can scale up shared equity housing opportunities by sharing resources with each other and helping each other not to fail at what we're trying to do. So there's so much expertise, there's so many documents, there's so many lawyers and people who have, people we can refer each other to. There are so many things like staff and office space and different types of resources that are possible for us to be. This is getting into what you're trying to say. So I'm gonna. So because of this, we are excited to really be looking at each other as we move forward and figuring out who's not at the table and who we want to get to the table. So we can think about not just having shared equity opportunities for housing here, but thinking about having them be more accessible to everybody. So not just to a few people who are in the know, but really how can we get these opportunities for home ownership and stuff to people who haven't been able to access them before. Oh, yeah. So I want to tell you who's at the table already. Amherst Community Land Trust. If you're from Amherst Community Land Trust, raise your hand. Woo! Franklin County Community Land Trust. Anyone here? Woo! There you are. Lower Valley CLT. I've been working with them, but Valley Community Land Trust, whose land we're on. Woo! Flow-Op Cooperative. Do we have any Flow-Op folks here? No, well, they're in my neck of the woods in Northampton. They're great. Valley Housing Cooperative. We know about that. Willow Prac. Also, other Willow Prackers, raise your hands. Where are you, Sana? There you are. Woo! And Equity Trust. Raise your hand. And Neighbor to Neighbor. Yeah, anyone here? And Wellspring Cooperative. So those are the groups that have all banded together to propel this forward.
It's been a really exciting process. Stay tuned. There are ways to get involved if you're like, how do I do it? Want to share with you what our aims are as Vail. These are the things that we collectively have decided to commit to. So we are committed to supporting CLTs and affordable housing cooperatives, both those that are emerging and those that existed, just like you were sharing, right? We're trying not to fail. we need us to not fail. We are open to holding land and working with folks for ground leasing to ensure permanently affordable housing, commercial and community space, and or food production in places outside of scope, capacity, or service areas of where there's already an existing CLT. We're really looking to localize governance where there is capacity. So really trying to keep decision-making power, vision creation in the hands of those most impacted. We are interested in creating new shared equity housing units because there's just not enough that exists or that is healthy to live in. We are prioritizing exploited communities, and we are collaborating with broader efforts.
Yeah. So far, okay, guys, it was a wild year. So we got some funding. We were able to receive a $40,000 Root Causes Solutions grant, and that enabled us to hire a consultant from Burlington Associates, who's like an expert in community land trust development and community land trust network development. And so we worked with him. We did all these stakeholder interviews. He interviewed a whole bunch of people up and down the valley who care. And then we held a 2-day retreat with 40 participants who have been engaged in the work. And we're now developing an implementation plan, which we're hoping will help to like really catalyze everything forward. There are all these circles too. There's like, 6 circles of people who are volunteers who are all coming together, monthly or every other week or so to work on different parts of the project to propel different aspects of it forward.
So I'm going to name those circles with a quickness, and then I'm going to tell you that we have a couple copies of a handout in case you like paper, but we also have a QR code. So if you're like, let me just get it right into my phone where I can return to it, I'll be standing around somewhere and you can come and snap it. It'll also be on the info table or the welcome table. If you haven't stopped by that table, highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. So currently with Vail, there are these following circles. The circles of governance, they function a lot like committees. The finance circle, the governance circle, community engagement and membership circle, resource sharing circle, advocacy circle, stewardship circle, and portfolio development circle. So joining a circle is one of the best ways that you can support this process, but also just making sure that you are getting the information and the updates on what's going on, because maybe you're like, I can't commit to another thing. That's often what happens in rooms like this, I'm just saying. But if you keep your eye on what's happening and share with your networks, that is one of the most impactful ways that you can support Vail and all of the partnering organizations, I would say. So check us out.
And it's basically this fun all the time when we get together. Like, we have this much fun, and you would get to hang out with Trenda and I if you're looking for more opportunities to hang out with us.
Yes, schedule a meeting. Come to an already scheduled meeting. That's the best way for sure. All right, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, we definitely wouldn't be standing here today without this community organizing work, helping bring us all together, making connections so that we can support one another. So to hear a little bit more about the co-op, if Nina's around, she's going to give you a little bit of a rundown on our history getting to this place and what we're doing here and how you can plug in.
Hi everyone, I'm Nina. I'm here to talk about Valley Housing Co-op. I'm going to give you an extremely abridged history of how we got here today, and what we're doing to ensure community control of land here and in general. So we started as a group of 5 friends. We were renting, we were house sitting, living with our families. It was the beginning of the pandemic. Some backstory, we'd already been talking for many years about the co-op, the dream, living together. And so it was the beginning of the pandemic, things were really bleak. We were feeling like we were having lots of conversation, but we were ready to act around it. So we started sharing our ideas. We were meeting together. We were meeting online, meeting outside. We were blessed. All of us have a weird neurotype where we just enjoy meeting and then meeting again and then meeting again. And so at first, and for like maybe a year or two, things were pretty chaotic. We were just, there wasn't really any structure. We were kind of having some storytelling, resonance circles, building trust, figuring stuff out. Maybe a year and a half or 2 years in, we learned about sociocracy. I don't know if Ted and Jerry are here. Sociocracy for All in Amherst really helped us out with that. So we started learning who is making these decisions, how are we making these decisions together. Started developing things like a vision, mission, aim, some of the things that you were hearing like Trenda and Rebecca were saying, like actually having words for what we were saying. Developing property criteria, figuring out non-hierarchical structures for governance, and things were getting done, so that was really exciting. And in this process, we were looking at properties, we were looking around, we started realizing what is it actually that we want. We're developing property criteria. We realized we wanted something with a mix of rural and urban, at least 5 acres. We wanted to be close to Greenfield or Great Falls. We visited a lot of places, Coleraine, Wendell. We entered a lottery for a VCLT property in downtown Greenfield, which I met someone here who lives there now, which is awesome. We explored some raw land near Lupinwood and New Culture. Maybe some of y'all are here. I think I saw you earlier. There you are. Turned out that would be too expensive to develop. Meanwhile, we're having all of these conversations. We're meeting Noah from Noble Home Design and Build. We're talking with the now enacted Vail. We're engaging with Valley Community Land Trust and organizing with them. During this time, we're all shuffling around housing, but have kind of developed some stability around the valley. When this property appeared on the market, we had some friends who pointed it out to us. They were excited about it. They encouraged us to move forward and see what was up, take a tour. And after some conversations with Noble Home and what is now Vail and VCLT, things started to seem possible. So we rushed to put in an offer on this, and this was a pretty risky thing, to be honest. We did not actually have approval of the land trust when we did this. We did not have a financial contingency or the financing to back that offer. The Valley Community Land Trust ended up making their fastest decision in 30 minutes to back us for this property. We started working with Equity Trust. I think Rob's here, is Jim here? The Cooperative Fund of the Northeast, we saw Rebecca earlier. They helped us out with loans. They were incredibly helpful with their mentorship. We got a great co-op lawyer, Kyle. We got a real estate agent, Suzanne. We wrote bylaws. We filed articles with the state. We developed a memorandum of understanding between all of these parties. We all had our own attorneys. Mark Nejam held the whole thing together. I don't know if he's here today. We fundraised $232,000 from 70 donors. We fundraised $163,000 from 8 personal loaners. We had a lot of honest and open conversations with our families and our friends. And honestly, that several months was a huge blur. It was an absolute whirlwind. But we really kept going with all of the community that we were building. People were really supporting us and encouraging us throughout the process. So just to all of our family and friends here today, thank you so much. It was incredible to have y'all with us and to be with us in this journey, because this is not an end or a beginning. We are very much in our process right now. We find ourselves here right now plenty is emerging from right where we are. We're starting to develop a circle around land stewardship of this land, expanding access to trails. We're meeting our neighbors, and just so much is happening. So just thank you for being here in this moment with us today. And if people are interested in getting involved, become a member. We will tell you how. Just talk to us. We have Valley Housing Co-op on our name tags. And yeah, join a circle. You can be involved in like what this process looks like, what this land looks like, what our relationships are looking like. And we hope to use what we're learning and what we have learned to support other projects that have similar missions, and to just kind of keep supporting co-ops and moving together. So that's all for me. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Great. So next we'll hear from VCLT, Gabriela, who owns this land and has supported us in this project. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Can you all hear me okay? Great. I know it's cold and it's wet, and I don't know about you all, but I'm kind of getting chilly and ready to go, so I'm going to keep this extra brief. I'll introduce myself briefly, and I'll tell you a little bit about the Valley Community Land Trust. So again, my name is Gabriela Della Croce. I'm a mother, an educator, newly a forest preschool teacher, cooperative developer, wear many hats, and a member of the Valley Community Land Trust Board, as well as a member of the steering committee of Vail. And my process of how I found the Valley Community Land Trust, I kind of stumbled on it with my partner. We were searching across the valley far and wide for housing for about 3 years and kind of just got lucky. And I'm acutely aware of the fact that if we hadn't found our particular house when we did, we might have very well been priced out of the market like many other people who we know. I have many friends who are in that exact situation right now, as renting prices and housing prices skyrocket. It's something that I'm, watching with horror and feel very motivated to do something about. That was what motivated my desire to join Vail and to join the Valley Community Land Trust Board, which I did the week after we moved into our house. For me, just the act of living on a community land trust has already been a really beautiful and transformative thing in many ways, myself and my family as well. People sometimes show up to my house, and maybe some of you have heard me say this, and say, "Oh, what a beautiful property you have here." And it just, I know they mean well, but it kind of just, that commonplace language sort of bristles. I bristle against it because I just think, well, it's not, I don't own this place, and it's not property. It just sounds so, it's not really how I relate to the earth under my feet here. And it's, I want more people, I would like everyone to be able to access the kind of connection to land and housing stability that I'm kind of got lucky enough to enjoy along with my family. So we don't own our house, but not the land underneath, because we're part of the land trust. So we have a 99-year lease on that land. And I'm sorry, I didn't staple these notes. So I'll tell you a little bit about the Valley Community Land Trust next. At the core of our mission is holding land, considering it neither private nor public property, but a sacred resource to be held in trust for present and future generations. There's a long history that the organization has. It precedes me. It began in 1978 when the community land trust model was relatively unusual in the U.S. And although our organization has stayed very small, holding just 13 pieces of land until now, this is now number 14, and those pieces of land are scattered across Franklin County, Wendell, Ashfield, Greenfield, Coleraine. We are now growing, and our organization is now going to double or possibly even triple in size, and I'm very excited about that shift and what it means about how many other people will be able to access housing stability and land being involved collectively, and self-governance and land stewardship here. The Valley Community Land Trust began with political study groups in the late 1970s, and it was founded by a group of people who wanted to live their life in service to their convictions. Many of them are war tax resistors, attempting to extricate themselves from the military-industrial complex and all of the complicity and its violence that entails. They also believe very strongly that land should not be treated as a commodity, and that affordable housing should be a universal human right. Those guiding principles, I know, really shaped the organization in its early years. and continue to play a role in, you know, who we are and that history. Let me see. What's next? The Valley Community Land Trust is 4 decades old, just about, and this moment that we're at right now is kind of an unprecedented one for our organization, and an enormously exciting one to me personally. For many of those decades, and really all those decades, the Valley Community Land Trust has remained, like I said, small scale, offering the opportunities I was able to access to a relatively limited number of people. And now, in collaboration with the Valley Housing Co-op and Noble Home, we're just going to be able to do a whole lot more. So what's next? Specifics of building housing on this land, given the scale of the project and so many other moving pieces that we've been working through, we want to lay the groundwork really carefully and thoughtfully, but we are meeting regularly with the Valley Community Land Trust and VHC, with Noah from Noble Homes, and working towards what comes next in terms of what the condo development will look like. And again, we never would have made it this far if it weren't for many of you sitting right here right now. So look around, and I just want to say thank you again. I just express so much gratitude. I feel that personally. I feel like I can express that on behalf of our organization, because we really never would have gotten here if it weren't for an incredible outpouring of community support. So thank you all again.
Thank you. So we're going to hear from one more group who has an exciting project that's just emerging, and I'm excited to hand it over to Catherine and Patty to talk a little bit about that, and some other folks.
Hey everyone. First of all, thank you so much for being here while it's raining and showing up for reclaiming the commons and decommodifying land and housing. My name is Catherine Golub. I use she, her pronouns. I live in Greenfield. This is Patty, who's a neighbor, and Dave Cohen and Judy Atkins, who are with the Franklin County Community Land Trust. And we are here to share with you a really exciting project that we have going on, and hopefully very soon we will be needing some help. And so letting you know about that. So a bit of background about our project. So for those of you who know where Just Roots is, Just Roots in Greenfield, it's our community farm in Greenfield on the other side of town. It's the old poor farm house. So it was initially built to provide affordable housing for folks that needed it. And also I'll invite, there's other neighbors here, like Akari, if you want to come up. There's neighbors here who are passing around information about the house. So this house was built a long time ago as the old poor farm house. And until now, currently, it is a 12-unit farmhouse that we currently own rent from a landlord. I moved there with my son Kai when he was 4. He's now 16, and it's always been my dream to purchase and to steward this land and the house cooperatively. And with the rising prices of houses nowadays, we finally decided, Patty and other neighbors and I have decided to move forward with pursuing collective ownership, and have been in a lot of different conversations trying to figure out what would be the best way to do this. We've explored condoizing, we've explored cooperatives, and we've had a lot of different conversations with folks from Flow Up and folks from the Cooperative Fund of the Northeast, is that right? And as we went, and with the Franklin Community Land Trust, as we went, people kept saying, have you talked to Sarah Brown? Have you talked to Sarah Brown? Have you talked to Sarah Brown? And finally, we started talking to Sarah Brown, and through those conversations emerged the idea to have the Valley Housing Cooperative, VHC, purchase the house, and to have the Franklin Community Land Trust purchase the land, because we don't want to do this alone. We see this growing movement that you have all been hearing about, and we believe that there's power in scale, and that we need to be part of a movement that has the growing capacity to not just buy our house, hopefully, and to own our house cooperatively, but to support a growing movement. And so we are now, we have formed a sociocratically governed circle with neighbors, with folks from the Community Land Trust, with Saul and Sarah from the Valley Housing Cooperative. And the plan is to convince our landlord to sell us the house so that the land trust will purchase the land and the housing cooperative will purchase the house. And so that we will own and steward this house cooperatively. And part of why we decided this is that there are several neighbors who are lower income, and we want to make sure that we have, or all of us are actually lower income, but on Section 8, and wanted to make sure that this is truly financially affordable and accessible. And we're really excited about the support that the cooperative offers for doing that. What else am I missing? And so we're currently working to convince our landlord to sell us the house. That's the short version. So we're not yet looking for, in order to make this happen, basically, we will need to fundraise a lot of money in order to make this happen. So the idea is when a land trust purchases the land, those are 501c3 dollars. Those are tax deductible donations, and so we will be fundraising for the land trust to purchase the land through the tax deductible donations, and then also for hopefully the Cooperative Fund of New England, the Northeast, and hopefully in conjunction also with Equity Trust. With the financing from them, we will also need. There's been a lot of learning in this process, and hopefully learning that will also support other people doing other projects. But so we'll have the 501c3 dollars for the land trust, and then also through loans to be able to put the down payment on the house, and also for the startup fees. We don't know exactly how much that'll be, but it'll at least be several $100,000 for us to pull this off. And so we will need help in order to make this happen. And so we've passed around this beautiful flyer that Patty has made. And there is a QR code on a tiny little QR code, cute little QR code on the bottom corner. And that is a link tree to Vail, which includes a link to the land trust. And that is a place where you can, if you feel so inspired to contribute to the land trust, those could be donations that go to our project. They can also be donations that go to other projects that the land trust is engaged with. And if someone feels really inspired to contribute to this project and wants to make a note that it is for this project, if the project doesn't go forward, we've talked about it, the money would go back to you. Hopefully people will contribute to the land trust because they also have really exciting projects going on in Montague and want to build their capacity. But so this is a heads up. We will hopefully be reaching out for more support really soon. Anything else that I missed? No? Okay, we have wonderful neighbors, so we're really hopeful that we will pull this off. Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks so much. I know it's a lot of structure and legal stuff, and it can seem kind of maybe boring at times or just complicated, but it's exciting to be able to work with these folks. It just brings it down to the very material level of people living in their homes. They want a safe place to live. They want to be able to keep living there. And it should just be that simple, like without having to have a lot of money. It's not complicated. We just need all these complicated things to keep the market out of the question, right? Because the standard way of doing it is not aligned with those goals. So that's why we're bringing in all these structures and decision-making and blah, 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 because the standard way of doing things won't support people just living in their home and having a safe place to live. So that's it on our presentations. Feel free to put your email down if you haven't already to get more info on stuff or talk to people. There's also some wonderful fruit from the catering folks and also the tamales and such. They said, take them home if you want. There's lots extra. And then it looks like it's let up a little, so we're gonna have we can have a few walks go out around the land in a little bit. I don't know exactly, do we know who is leading those walks or how we're gonna do that?
I was gonna do one.
So you guys want to stand up? All right, Nevin here and Sarah will each be leading a land walk. So where do you want people to gather for those?
Just by the bathroom door, maybe? Yeah, where the bathroom sign is.
Okay, so in 5-10 minutes, you can just gather over by the bathroom sign, and you're also just free to roam around. There's trails by yourself, and there's, you can walk down to the river and all that. And just feel free to keep hanging here too by the fires. So anyway, thank you all so much for being here. This is really meaningful.